Hello and welcome back to a new review. Today it's going to be a first impressions on Alice Cooper's new album, Detroit Stories. Came out this Friday, and it's good. What else can I say, you know? In all seriousness, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not great, but it's pretty good. It's out of his most recent albums, I would say it's the best he's done, at least since Along Came a Spider. You know, maybe longer ago than that. I don't know. It's not... The Eyes of Alice Cooper was the last one I heard of his that I thought was really just very, very good. I think I might like Last Temptation a little more than that. Last Temptation to me is like his last, like, definitely great album. I mean, like, The Eyes of Alice Cooper could rise. I would need to listen to it again, but, you know. The thing about Alice, ever since he came back in the 90s after his hair metal phase, well, Hey Stupid is hair metal, but it's better hair metal. Ever since he kind of recovered from the hair metal thing in the 80s, the baseline for Alice Cooper has been decent. You know, it's... Some albums are better than others. This is probably one of the better ones. It has its quirks, you know, like they all do. It feels a little bit tired and phoned in at points, but there's other stuff on here that's very, very strong. The opening cover of Rock and Roll by the Velvet Underground is very, very good. I really like Our Love Will Change the World, which is a really interesting throwback to those sort of Beatles-esque ballady tracks, even though it's not a ballad, that the Alice Cooper group used to do in the early days. So I really dig that. The rock stuff is great. You know, I love some of the glamminess of something like $100,000 High Heel Shoes. You know, it's good stuff. It's a good album. It's a very solid rock album for somebody who is as late in his career as Alice Cooper is. You know, could it be better? Absolutely. I do think, you know, even though they're like the most anodyne music criticism source ever, I do think All Music kind of hit the nail on the head when they said that it's an album that it tries to do the Detroit garage Alice Cooper group thing at the same time as the sort of knowing wink solo Alice thing, and I think it suffers just a little bit for that. I think they would have been better off to just lock and load and do the Detroit garage Alice Cooper stuff, because I think for the most part that's the strongest part of the album, and stuff like Independence Dave, I Hate You, and Shut Up and Rock is some of the weaker material on here, but you know, the like I said, the bass line is decent and actually kind of above decent. You know, it's a good rock album is really what I'm going to keep coming back to in this review, is because that's the core of it. It's a good hard rocky kind of garage album, and you know, Ezrin does his job, Cooper does his job. You know, Dennis Dunway's back for a few songs. You know, I've always wished he would maybe not do a reunion, but he would do more stuff with the original band members who are still alive, because I think it's just the guitarist or one of the guitarists who's died. And that's kind of why I liked The Eyes of Alice Cooper so much, is it came the closest to doing that. And this one comes pretty close too. The vibe is similar. I enjoy it, you know. It's an effective album at what it sets out to do, which is basically, you know, to quote Frank Zappa and Lumpy Gravy, you know, to bring up, you know, Zappa inevitably, as I do in like every video of mine, to be a bit of nostalgia for the old folks. And of course, I'm not old yet, so maybe I'm not getting the full package here. Maybe I need to check back in on this album in 50 years when we're all uploading our videos through like transcendental neural links into the astro satellites, focusing around the planet Blaneshk, bouncing atom symbols off the Chesereki Plashleks, you know? Maybe when we're all browsing YouTube telepathically, I'll be able to do this, but yeah, you know, I'm just not qualified right now. Yeah, like I said, it's a very solid little album. I would rate it a very, very solid 7 out of 10. I don't know that I could go that much higher than that, because like I said, it has its weaker moments are the moments where I think he sets the Alice Cooper group thing aside, and the only thing I can think of is like he guns for the Kiss territory of like Ezrin's work with Kiss, because Bob Ezrin's back on board for this. And there's stuff on here that very much feels like it belongs on Destroyer. That's just not something I want from Alice Cooper, you know? Like, you know, I like a little bit of Kiss, and I like most Alice Cooper. But those are two worlds I want kept at arm's length. Also, it feels really, really weird to have Alice Cooper referencing Kid Rock, Eminem, the Insane Clown Posse. I forget which song that is. I think that's Detroit City 2021, one of the highlights of the album. But that's surreal, even though I know, as somebody who once did research on the Insane Clown Posse, that Alice Cooper does appear on their 1997 album, The Great Milenko. So that's your unnecessary trivia. Don't ask me why I know that. Yeah, you know, I listened to it when it came out on Friday. It was the first new album of the year I actually heard. There hasn't been a lot out this year that I've actually been interested in reviewing. Really much of anything, actually. So, you know, that was fun. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised because, like I said, those last 3 Alice Cooper albums, they're not bad, but they haven't done much for me, and this one does more. So my expectations were low, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's a good little rock album. I didn't give it a huge amount of attention because I've been very, very busy with a lot of different projects I'm working on for this channel. 2021 is going to be a big year. There's going to be a lot of reviews that I hope people have been waiting for a long time. Certainly that I should have done years ago. But I sat on for various reasons, and I'm very excited to bring you those. But it meant that this wasn't the first album I was reaching for over the weekend. And unfortunately, that's kind of the prevailing theme of this video, is that, you know, it's good, but, you know, nothing to write home about. And that's more negative than I mean to be. I don't know why I'm coming off that way. You know, so this is why I don't usually do first impressions. Sometimes first impressions are weird. First impressions are wrong. Sometimes first impressions leave you wondering when you eventually revisit the album if you even listened to the right album. That happened to me with Frank Ocean's Blonde album, which I'm probably going to be reviewing this year. First time I heard it, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that good. I went back to it a couple months ago, and I was like, this is amazing. What was I smoking at the time? And maybe this is going to be one of those albums where that's the case. I mean, like, I'm not like bashing it. It's a 7 out of 10, but it's just a 7 out of 10. I read somewhere that he was talking about doing another album with his touring band, which I'm really interested to hear because his touring band is supposed to be really good. So I'll maybe be looking out for that. But yeah, as far as a Alice Cooper album for 2021, with a 73-year-old Alice Cooper doing his thing, it's perfectly serviceable. I can recommend this to anybody who's into solo Alice. Maybe not so much if you're a major fan of the Alice Cooper group and the Alice Cooper group alone, but it is definitely worth a listen because they do hit on some of those Alice Cooper group notes. But yeah, that's my review. 7 out of 10. Liked the album, but I had other things distracting me, so maybe that score will grow over time. So yeah, I will see you all on the next video.